leaders across the globe. She heard their plans for China. She's no ordinary whistleblower, and she comes to tell us not merely about what has happened, but also what is coming. Now, it is our practice, Ms. Wynne-Williams, and the Judiciary Committee and its subcommittees to swear in our witnesses before they testify. So if you would, let me invite you to rise, raise your right hand, and we'll get started. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much. We'd love to hear your opening statement. Take as long as you need.
Chairman Hawley, Ranking Member Durbin, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Sarah Wynne-Williams, and I served as the Director of Global Public Policy at Facebook, now Meta, for nearly 7 years, starting in 2011. Throughout those 7 years, I saw Meta executives repeatedly undermine US national security and betray American values. They did these things in secret to win favor with Beijing and build an $18 billion business in China.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, the home of truth, liberty, and the red, white, and blue backbone that built this country. If you love America, you've come to the right place, because today we are diving into something that every single American needs to hear. Now listen closely. This isn't another story about big tech just being biased or unfair. This is a story about betrayal, about national security, about how Meta, that's Facebook for you old school folks, chose the Chinese Communist Party over the United States of America. And thanks to a whistleblower, we finally have the truth.
We are engaged in a high-stakes AI arms race against China. And during my time at Meta, company executives lied about what they were doing with the Chinese Communist Party to employees, shareholders, Congress, and the American public. I sit before this committee today to set the record straight about these illegal and dangerous activities. Meta's dishonesty started with the betrayal of core American values. Mark Zuckerberg pledged himself a free speech champion. Yet I witnessed Meta work hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party to construct and test custom-built censorship tools that silenced and censored their critics. When Beijing demanded that Facebook delete the account of a prominent Chinese dissident living on American soil, they did it, and then lied to Congress when asked about the incident in a Senate hearing. The willingness to censor was not the only troubling thing I witnessed. I watched as executives decided to provide the Chinese Communist Party with access to Meta user data, including that of Americans. Meta does not dispute these facts. They can't. I have the documents. As recently as this Monday, they claim that they do not operate their services in China. Another lie. In fact, they began offering products and services in China as early as 2014. That hasn't stopped. Their own SEC filings from last year show that China is now Meta's second biggest market. Meanwhile, Meta's AI model, Llama, has contributed significantly to Chinese advances in AI technologies like DeepSeek. Facebook's secret mission to get into China was called Project Aldrin and was restricted to need-to-know staff. There was no bridge too far. Meta built a physical pipeline connecting the United States and China. Meta executives ignored warnings that this would provide backdoor access to the Chinese Communist Party, allowing them to intercept the personal data and private messages of American citizens. The only reason China does not currently have access to US user data through this pipeline is because Congress stepped in. Meta started briefing the Chinese Communist Party as early as 2015. These briefings focused on critical emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence. the explicit goal being to help China outcompete American companies. There's a straight line you can draw from these briefings to the recent revelations that China is developing AI models for military use, relying on Meta's Llama model. Meta's internal documents describe their sales pitch for why China should allow them into the market by, quote, helping China increase global influence and promote the China dream. The truth about what has gone on in China matters. I filed a shareholder resolution asking Meta's board to investigate its activity in China, and I filed whistleblower complaints with the SEC and the DOJ. The measure of how important these truths are is directly proportionate to the ferocity of Meta's efforts to censor and intimidate me. I relied on their commitment given in 2018 that they would waive their rights to pursue forced arbitration. Despite that public commitment, they've brought a case against me for hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, they have a legal gag order that silences me, even as Meta and their proxies spread lies about me. This order is so expansive that it prohibits me from speaking with members of Congress. The gag order was sought by a company whose CEO claims to be a champion of free speech. The American people deserve to know the truth. Meta has been willing to compromise its values, sacrifice the security of its users, and undermine American interests to build its China business. It's been happening for years, covered up by lies, and continues to this day. I am here at considerable personal risk because you have the power and the authority to hold them accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wynne-Williams. We're going to have 8-minute rounds of questions.
Let me introduce you to the brave woman who dropped the truth bomb, Sarah Wynne-Williams. She's not some outsider. She worked as Director of Global Public Policy at Meta for 7 years. She had access to the inner circle. She was in the room, and what she testified to, it's shocking. Williams put her career, her name, her safety on the line to blow the whistle on the tech giant she used to help lead. And her story? It's not just about big tech gone rogue. It's about big tech actively helping our enemies. Let's break it down. 10 things you absolutely need to know, straight from her testimony. Number 1, Meta worked directly with the Chinese Communist Party. Not just doing business, but helping them build censorship tools to silence political dissidents. 2, they deleted a Chinese dissident's Facebook account right here on US soil because Beijing demanded it. That's not free speech. That's kowtowing to tyranny. Meta gave the CCP access to user data, including data from you and me, Americans. This wasn't a leak. It wasn't an accident. It was intentional. 4, they claim they don't operate in China. Lie. Their own SEC filings say otherwise. China is now their second biggest market. 5, they've been secretly working in China since 2014 under a hidden program called Project Aldrin. Sounds like something out of a spy novel, because it basically is. 6, they tried to build a physical data pipeline between the US and China. The only reason this digital highway of espionage didn't happen? Congress stepped in. 7, Meta briefed the CCP on AI technologies, including models like Llama, which are now helping China develop military-grade artificial intelligence. 8, Meta's internal documents proudly said their goal was to help promote the China dream. That's not our dream. That's a dream of global domination under communist rule. 9, they tried to silence Sarah Williams, sued her for hundreds of millions, slapped her with a gag order so strict she's not even allowed to talk to members of Congress. 10, and they're still lying, still covering it up, still selling out American freedom for Chinese yuan. We have American companies, billion-dollar giants, that are willing to hand over our technology, our data, and our values to a foreign regime that wants to destroy us. And while they censor conservatives, shut down patriots, ban Trump supporters, they're bowing down to Beijing. This is not just dangerous, it's treasonous. Mark Zuckerberg, you don't get to pretend you're a free speech champion while your company is literally building censorship software for a communist dictatorship. You don't get to claim moral high ground when you're deleting dissident voices at the demand of the CCP while silencing whistleblowers here at home with gag orders and lawsuits. And to every Meta executive who turned a blind eye or cashed a bonus while this was going on, you are complicit. You betrayed the trust of the American people. You betrayed the Constitution, and you need to be held accountable. This isn't just a story. This is a wake-up call to Congress, to parents, to business owners, to everyday Americans. We need investigations. We need whistleblower protections. We need to demand full transparency from Meta and every other big tech company in bed with foreign regimes. And while we're at it, maybe it's time we start asking why these platforms have so much power in the first place. Maybe it's time we start breaking them up, regulating them like utilities, or finding pro-America alternatives. Sarah Wynne Williams, if you're watching, we salute you. You are a true patriot. You stood up for this country when others sold it out. And here at Right View Nation, we've got your back. To the rest of you watching, if you love this country, if you care about truth, and if you believe in freedom, share this video. Get loud. Speak up. This is how we take our country back. This is Right View Nation, where truth has no gag order and America always comes first. Subscribe, share, and stay strong. Until next time, patriots, stay bold, stay free, and never bow to tyranny. God bless America.